Hello everybody and welcome back. In this video, I'm gonna go over 10 types of personality disorders. Okay, I'm not gonna go too much into detail with them, but I'm just gonna give a little briefing on each of them in that you can understand a little bit more what it is that we as a whole are dealing with. Now, one thing we gotta understand is that the personality disorders fall under one of three categories. Okay, cluster A, cluster B, and cluster C. Now, cluster A is based on odd or eccentric behavior. Cluster B is more dramatic, emotional behavior. And cluster C is more of anxious or fearful behavior. So with that being said, let's just get started, huh? So the first personality disorder is Schizoid personality disorder. This particular disorder is where someone feels uninterested in creating relationships with other people. It could even be family members. They feel that having a relationship will impede on their freedom. They have a hard time maintaining relationships with other people. They're a bit antisocial in that they like to be alone with their own thoughts, and they lack interest in intimacy and sex. The next personality disorder is Schizotypal personality disorder. People who suffer from this disorder have an extremely difficult time creating relationships with others. They act in a way that a lot of people will find eccentric. They feel that they have some form of a sixth sense, like they can read people's minds or they have special powers. And they tend to become paranoid and anxious in social settings. The next disorder is paranoid personality disorder. People who suffer from this have a very hard time confiding in people. They have a hard time trusting people. They're always looking for betrayal or hostility. And they read threats and danger, even though it's not really there, in any little situation that they have going on in their life. The next one is Antisocial personality disorder, or ASPD for short. People who suffer from this disorder are risk takers. Okay, they can go out there and create problems and not really think about the consequences. They can mistreat people and have no kind of remorse because it's all about fulfilling their needs, their own self-serving needs. Okay, they can do things, illegal things. They're very aggressive and hostile. They tend to get into fights easily. They can become extremely volatile at any given time. And they have no sense of guilt, no sense of remorse for any type of harm that they do to other people. And they do behave in ways that are very unpleasant to others as well. And again, they don't care. They're loners. They're the rebels. The next one is borderline personality disorder. People who suffer from this disorder have a very big fear of abandonment. They have very high and low moments. So by day, they can be high, confident, feeling good. And by night, their moments can be very low, depressing, anxiety-filled. They have suicidal thoughts, okay? And they tend to self-harm, which can include cutting or anything that has to do with anything that's harmfully inflicting oneself. They find it hard to keep stable relationships with people because of the highs and lows and because of the thought process. The next one is Histrionic personality disorder. People who suffer from this disorder, it's similar to NPD, to narcissistic personality disorder. And what the people who suffer from this disorder do is pretty much, they have to be the center of attention. Okay, they'll act provocatively just to ensure that the attention and the focus is on them. They have to be the life of the party. They have to have everyone's attention on them in that it keeps them focused, I guess. I mean, narcissists, it keeps them fueled, but I guess someone who suffers from histrionic personality disorder, it just keeps them at a state where they feel like they have some form of importance, basically. The next one is avoidant or anxious personality disorder. People who suffer from this disorder avoid certain things. They avoid work or activities if it means being around other people. They feel very lonely and isolated, but yet they have a deep-rooted fear of rejection. So they avoid relationships, they avoid intimacy. They have this fear of being found out and being rejected because of it. And they're reluctant to try anything new because of, yet again, fear of being embarrassed. The next one is dependent personality disorder, also known as DPD. People who suffer from this disorder feel needy, they feel weak. Sometimes they feel that they have to do things that they probably wouldn't even want to do or they feel is wrong, just to avoid being left alone or losing their support. They have very low self-confidence and they fear being left to fend for themselves. The next one is obsessive compulsive personality disorder. And people who suffer from this disorder have an excessive need to make sure that everything is perfect. Everything is in order and everything is in control. Their way is the best way. They feel that if people make mistakes, the worst is going to happen. So if it's not perfect, it's going to be utter catastrophe. This particular personality disorder is not to be mistaken with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. We're talking about personality disorders. And lastly, you guessed it, narcissistic personality disorder. We all should have at least an idea of what that is. But just to give a little recap of it, people who suffer from NPD feel a sense of entitlement, feel that they have to have the attention and the focus on them. Their needs come first. They lack empathy. They lack sympathy. It's all about what they want and what they can get out of a situation. So if they're going to give, they better be getting something in return. Okay? Guys, I hope this helped you. I hope that we at least got over some of the, the core details of these different personality disorders. Please do not go and self-diagnose nor try to diagnose other people. Leave it to the professionals. I'm just here for educational reasons. I'm definitely an advocate for self-help, self-education. Okay, and I think it's important that we learn these things because maybe we can get a better understanding to other people before we go and judge them. All right, a lot of them have a hard time even coming to terms with the idea that they have a personality disorder, let alone admitting to it. So take the time and educate yourselves on this. I mean, I do this because I want to help as many as I possibly can. All right, guys, but just remember, this is all educational. I am not a medical professional. I do all of this to really just help people get a better understanding. So guys, I hope this helped you. We will be getting more into it in the future. And that's it so far. Stay tuned for my next video. We're going to be talking about sociopaths. Namaste.